Yo, what's a crack? Today I'm gonna walk you through a full body workout I recently did at home because my local gym was closed due to remodeling. Keep in mind that this session takes place in the context of a long-term bulk I initiated over 2 years ago. A long and sustained calorie surplus that is meant to support muscle growth. In fact, this session is mainly based on hypertrophy training principles, which have been my go-to approach to gaining size. Therefore, the majority of the sets will be performed within a 65 to 80% of my 1 rep max, which signifies an 8 to 15 rep range, a window of intensity that is better suited to a home workout where there are obvious equipment as well as load limitations. So, the opening set of this workout is a loaded vertical pull. A pull-up bar could be your best friend if you have to train at home. Here I'm wearing a weighted vest with 9 kilograms, which is roughly 20 additional pounds. I could have used a higher load for a heavy set of 5 reps, but to be entirely honest with you, I'm a little bit concerned about the load-bearing capacity of the dorm frame, that's all. I usually complete the most intense work right at the start of my workout when I'm fresh and full of energy. And I highly suggest that you do the same if you engage in any form of resistance training for the purpose of building muscle. If you are relatively new to this type of training and you want to learn how to structure a workout to maximize your muscle gains, I recommend you check out this video later on. Alright, from now on I'm going to include bodyweight pull-ups into the second part of an agonist-antagonist superset. Overloading opposing muscle functions is heads down my favorite way of training my upper body when the goal is hypertrophy. Here I'm performing a set of standing overhead press with a barbell, followed right after by pull-ups with a pronated grip. My central nervous system and body are responding well to the demands of doing 2 big compound lifts, one after the other. By the second superset, I find myself in the zone. I'm starting to break a serious sweat as I work my way through the repetitions. This shouldn't come as a surprise to the regular viewers of this channel, since I've discussed many times in the past that supersets could also be quite challenging from a cardiovascular standpoint. As someone who is invested in building as much muscle as possible in the next few years, I have very little time to do traditional steady-state cardio when I train. Nevertheless, because of my background in sports playing soccer for many years, I'm able to maintain a good to a very good aerobic condition simply from doing 2 or more exercises without taking much of a rest. Bodybuilding Cardio 101. I'm completing effective sets by taking each movement close to muscular failure while I'm training my cardiovascular system. And the best part about supersets is that they are very time efficient. I get to do more work in less time. Should you have any questions regarding implementation, benefits, as well as drawbacks on supersets in the context of muscle growth, I would invite you to catch this video later on. All the links will be provided in the description section down below. As I previously mentioned, this is an agonist-antagonist superset because I'm pairing together exercises that train opposing functions. The OHP is a vertical push, whereas the pull-up is a vertical pull. The primary muscle movers of the first exercise only play a stabilizing role at the joint during the second one, effectively giving muscle groups some time to actively rest during the execution of the following movement, and vice versa. For example, the 3 heads of the triceps, especially the long one, are heavily engaged when performing elbow extension during the OHP. However, this muscle group only plays the role of supporting the bodily structure during pull-ups because now the muscles on the opposite side of the joint, aka the biceps brachii, brachialis, and brachioradialis, are responsible for the opposite function, elbow flexion that is. Agonist-antagonist supersets have been used by professional bodybuilders for many years, the most famous example perhaps being Arnold Schwarzenegger, who popularized the pairing of dips and chin-ups, among many others of course. Anyway, pull-ups are known to be the king for the upper body. People have been performing this simple yet effective exercise all around the world for many years, and by looking at the results it's produced over time, we can safely say the following. There seems to be a pretty compelling correlation between a well-developed upper back and the number of pull-ups someone can do. I'm talking about clean reps with no momentum and full range of motion, just to be clear. The higher the number of pull-ups you can do, the more jacked your upper back is likely to be. And now with the growing popularity of fitness content here on YouTube, you don't have to look very hard to find evidence of this. Either through a strategy that uses external load or through a high-volume approach with just body weight, pull-ups have a long-standing reputation for building cobra-looking backs. And whether the metaverse ends up becoming a reality in our world or not, that ain't changing. More relevant to my personal goals, A combo consisting of OHPs and pull-ups is one of the most powerful tools to develop a V-taper. When done correctly, pull-ups are extremely effective in growing the latissimus dorsi in particular and the whole upper back complex in general. Conversely, the barbell press is an amazing tool to add mass to the deltoid, especially the front side. If you're looking to grow a wider back capped with bolder shoulders, you'll be doing yourself a great favor by progressing these two compound lifts in your program. Speaking of V-tapers, I also made 2 videos on this topic not so long ago. One is a full guide to bigger shoulders, whereas the other exposes the most common beginner mistake preventing many from getting the most out of their pull-ups. Links down below. Before moving on to the second block of this workout, I'll be completing a set of weighted push-ups with a deficit. For no particular reason other than the fact that I love push-ups, I sometimes include a set of these just for the sake of doing them. That and because last year I bought a set of parallel bars and I want to make my money's worth. I think it's important to point out that throughout this bulking phase, I have increased the frequency of effective sets that primarily target the chest. And this set right here is the perfect example of this mindset. It's not a day focused on this muscle group, and yet I throw in a set of push-ups in a full body session. Small additions like this do have an accumulative effect in the weekly volume for my chest. The 3 multi-joint movements I've been using the most frequently in 2021 to grow a bigger chest have been weighted dips, weighted deficit push-ups, and the bench press with dumbbells. On that note, I recently published a video analyzing the main differences between the last 2. If you're curious to know which one is better for growth in the pectoralis muscle, check out the link down below. Now onto more hypertrophic suffering. The second block of this workout is another superset consisting of 2 isolation movements, one for the arms and one for the lower body. I'm absolutely elated to report that after many months putting up with a minor injury in my right wrist, I'm finally able to overload movements pain-free with my hand in supination. In turn, this means that I had to take some time off from barbell curls and chin-ups in the last third of 2021. But I'm finally back and I'm really happy about it. All I could do for a while to train elbow flexion with hammer curls with dumbbells. Yes, I've regressed a little bit performance-wise in loading exercises with a supinated hand, but rest assured that I plan to work my way up to where I was prior to this setback. Right after completing as many curls as I can, I proceed to get onto the CC squat platform I recently purchased. Oh boy. I've only tried this implement a couple of times, but I have the feeling that this is going to be a game changer for my quads. If you think about it, the CC squat is a close relative to the typical leg extension machine there is in every commercial gym. You overload the same body function, in this case knee extension, but you use your own body weight as resistance instead. In all truthfulness, I wasn't a huge fan of the machine version, but the closed kinetic chain alternative where your body travels across space feels absolutely amazing. There's a hidden gem in this superset of movements. I'm talking about the way I'm holding the plate in front of me during CC squats. If you think about it, I've first taken elbow flexion to muscular failure with curls to then challenge my biceps through a long isometric holding. So essentially, I fatigue the biceps through its full range of motion with an appropriate weight, and then I keep forcing the muscle to stay engaged throughout the following set in a pre-fatigue state, thus making the 22-pound plate in front of me feel much heavier than it should. My point is this: my quads are working extremely hard, but I still managed to make this superset all about the guns. This little trick falls in line with the commitment I made last year on growing bigger arms. I made a video explaining why a minimalist approach would fail to grow bigger arms for the average lifter, and why I personally needed to use smaller exercises to isolate both the biceps and the triceps. Catch it later if you find yourself in the same situation. The CC squat for high reps turns out to be quite the heart raiser as part of a superset. Here I'm completing a set of 15, and as you can clearly see, I'm sweating profusely. Not that this is a good indication that the workout is being effective from a hypertrophic perspective, but I point this out simply to warn those of you who get out of breath easily in the gym and want to give this movement a go. Well, what you see here is someone trying to grow bigger quadriceps while his cardiovascular system is put to the test. From a muscle building standpoint, the CC squat feels a need that arises from the mechanics of the squat. The most common variations of this movement, I'm talking about the back squat and the front squat, fail to effectively hit all the muscles that make up the quadriceps. Squats means 4, which refers to the number of heads this muscle group is made out of. 3 of these cross only the knee joint and get good stimulation with most squats. The 4th head, however, crosses both the hip and the knee, which calls for overloading a different movement pattern. That's where sissy squats come in. And since the rectus femoris is also responsible for hip flexion, this muscle doesn't get maximally stretched. All in all, the sissy squat is going to be a great addition to my long-standing pool of heavy hitters for the lower body. Given that I'm a posterior chain dominant type of guy with long femurs, any exercise that helps me strengthen the front side of my legs is more than welcome. If you're in the same boat as me, I highly recommend this video. Here I break down the biomechanics of the squat and how your individual anthropometry might be a key factor to account for with regards to quadriceps growth. And just for some extra fun, I decided to turn the last set of sissy squats into a drop set with only my body weight. I gotta be honest with you, I think this might have been a little bit too much for me given that this is an exercise I'm still trying to get the hang of. But come on, you can't really blame me for wanting to play a little bit longer with my new toy. Besides, this is one of the few times where I'm having a sick mind-muscle connection with my quads. Something that never happens during squats or other compound lifts. The pump, the sweat and tears are unreal. And so was the DOMs the following 3 days. Walking was awkward, but totally worth it. I regret nothing. To hell with the quote, last set, best sets. Because it ain't right. I'm wrapping up this home workout with a final set of deficit push-ups. This time bodyweight only. Because to put it mildly, you could have swept the floor with my dead body after the sissy squat drop set. But hey, if I plan something for a workout, there is no coming back. I am so fried in my lower body that I can't even fully extend at the knees. Thus the soft legs during an exercise that it is supposed to be done in a plank position. Please don't hold that against me, at least this time. If you want to learn how to do push-ups with pristine execution and body awareness, I recommend you to watch this video here. When these are done correctly, your ego could take a massive hit, but you'll finally get the most out of every single push-up, a real treat. With the last grunt of effort, my knees collapse to the floor the second I count the last rep of those grueling push-ups. My bedroom is a hot mess of steam and sweat. The training is over, and so am I. I really hope this video has been of some value. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to choose all when you click on the bell to get notified every time a new video goes live. Stay fit, stay strong, peace.